Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the brand new Wave Wade Flash. So you guys remember this shoe? This is the Wave Wade, or the Wade son of Flash, and this shoe is actually not super cheap. It was 135 bucks or 130 bucks or something like that, which is still pretty good price, especially for the tech that you're getting, but they reduced the price even further, 35 bucks, and the brand new Wade Flash is only $100, guys. So if you guys do want to cop out, try to leave in the free link in the description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it from the link or the actual product picture underneath this video. And as always, thank you guys so much for all of the support. But if you guys didn't know, the Son of Flash, this shoe was one of the best looking shoes in my personal opinion of last year. This is just a great looking shoe. I have this colorway and also the all white colorway, and yeah, just a great looking shoe, especially with this lightning bolt. And also it was an amazing performer, really responsive as well. But let's see if they made it cheaper, you know what I mean? I mean, they did make it cheaper, but is the shoe overall cheaper in quality and stuff like that? And did they skimp out on tech and stuff like that? But as far as how it looks pretty dang sick too. But what do you guys think looks better, the original Son of Flash or the brand new Wade Flash? I definitely do like the new price though. 100 bucks is very, very good. It is the cheapest shoe that Wade has ever offered, you know what I mean? So anyways, let's get started right off with the tracciones, and the traction is pretty interesting. So we have this lightning bolt traction pattern pretty much throughout the entire outsole, and then we have the Wave Wade logo kind of like where your I guess your big toe is, and then also kind of in the forefoot. We have this kind of oval shape with this pretty cool pattern, and then here in the midfoot we have pretty much no outsole. This is not in contact with the ground, which isn't a huge deal. You know, your midfoot isn't really ever in contact with the ground that much, but I think this is a little overkill. This is pretty big, you know, and of course we can see the midfoot shank plate. But yeah, how does the traction feel so far? It feels pretty good overall, you know what I mean? Just trying it on my wood floors, it seems to have a pretty good bite. It's not amazing or anything like that, but hopefully once I break it in and start to play in it, it gets a little bit better. But right now it's actually a pretty solid bite, and also there is a nice little squeak as well. It's not super loud and not super high pitched, but there is a nice squeak. So of course that has nothing to do with performance, but I do like shoes that have a nice squeak, and the Wade Flash has a pretty nice squeak. So yeah, the traction overall is feeling pretty good so far, and also on dust it seems like it'll be pretty good. The only part of the outsole, especially here in the forefoot where it's really close together as far as the grooves go, is right here, right where this oval shape is. But other than that, especially where the lightning bolt pattern is, the grooves are very well spaced apart, which means it's not going to pick up and trap dust that easily, you know what I mean? So of course we'll still have to see how it performs on dust, but I have my hopes up for dust performance for the Wade Flash. And also durability wise, they are using tough rubber. You know, they're saying it is tough rubber, and as you guys can see, these lightning bolts, they're super thick. The rubber is very hard, so you should be fine on the outdoor court. So the traction overall is feeling pretty dang nice, right? Now moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels pretty dang smooth, right? So here in the heel we got a nice curved and rounded shape, and I guess kind of fully or semi-exposed midsole here in the heel, you know what I mean? So the outsole does come up a little bit to cage around half of the midsole here in the heel, which I don't like as much, but it still has a nice little bit of compression, right? So it feels pretty smooth here in the heel, and then coming here into the forefoot, we got a nice curve shape. Look at that. Look at this, guys. Just a nice, amazing rocker shape. So yeah, and then we have a lot of forefoot flex, you know what I mean? Not super springy. I mean, it is springy, as you guys can see. It does, you know, revert back to a shape pretty easily, but it doesn't have a crazy springiness to it, you know what I mean? So it's just more smooth, of course, which of course I do like. I like a very smooth heel to toe transition sometimes, but in the more expensive shoes, especially with the shoes that have full-length carbon fiber, for example in the JB2, the Lirin 4, or the Wild 10 Low, they all have a full-length carbon fiber plate, and it's very springy, right? But this is just more smooth, it feels like. So that feels pretty dang nice. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So it doesn't say anywhere on this shoe, which is pretty interesting, what the actual foam is, you know what I mean? But it is Cloud Plus, and it's pretty much the same exact foam that the original Son of Flash is using. I believe this shoe was using Cloud Plus as well, or probably just Cloud Foam. But this shoe, the Son of Flash, had boom inserts. So there was a boom insert here in the heel and also in the forefoot, which of course made this shoe very, very nice, and also had a very nice open mesh, right? Soft mesh strobel board. Here in the Wade Flash, however, they don't have boom inserts, which kind of sucks, but it is $35 cheaper, so they didn't add that, which makes sense. I mean, you can't really complain about that, you know, $35 cheaper, $100. But one thing that I love about Chinese companies like Way of Wade, Li-Ning, and Anta is that even though I guess Cloud Plus is still kind of nice, but it's not super nice, you know what I mean? And they do kind of put in their cheaper shoes. But one thing that they do to make the cushioning setup a lot nicer, especially in their cheaper shoes, is the soft mesh strobel board, right? So for example, in Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, a lot of their cheaper shoes, they do skimp out on cushion, you know what I mean? And the cushion usually in their cheaper shoes is not that good. Impact protection not that nice, you know? It's very responsive, but overall not the best cushioning setup, right? But here for the Wade Flash, what they did, so first of all, the insole is just whatever, you know what I mean? It's just a regular insole, nothing crazy or anything like that. But if it was super thick, you probably wouldn't be able to feel the foam, especially through the insole if it was too thick, you know? But yeah, if you look at the actual strobel board, we have a very nice open mesh strobel board. So here in the heel, we can see the exposed Cloud Plus foam, and you press it with your finger, there is a good amount of compression. It's soft, but it is kind of thin, you know what I mean? It has very good court feel, low to the ground, so it's not super plush and super comfortable like, for example, in like the Kai 1, but this is still pretty nice, you know what I mean? Especially since they are using this, it's way better than if they were using like a traditional strobel board and it was really, really stiff. So here in the heel, it's pretty dang nice. Coming here into the forefoot, it's pretty nice as well. Like I said, it's not super duper plush, but you can feel a little something, you know, like a little bit of compression right underneath the foot. Of course, here in the midfoot, we do have that midfoot shin plate. You know, it's exposed here on the bottom of the shoe, and we can see that it's also, I guess it's top loaded, you know what I mean? But here in the midfoot, it is kind of stiff because that plastic piece, right? So overall, step and comfort is pretty dang nice. Like I said, it's not super plush and super duper comfortable, but it's there. And also here in the heel, we do have a little bit of compression, so that feels pretty nice too. But I feel like it'll be a very responsive low to the ground setup, which will be very good for guards, right? It's probably not gonna be super bouncy and not the best for impact protection, but I feel like it'll be adequate. So yeah, I definitely feel like it is a little bit of a downgrade from the boom inserts, you know, found in the Son of Flash, but like I said, it is $35 cheaper, and I do like the overall cushioning setup for the price because of the soft mesh strobel, right? Also, another thing that's pretty interesting is that it looks like circles, you know, in the forefoot, and also here in the heel, we have this kind of like pattern. Kind of reminds me of, I think the Zoom Freak 3 did that a little bit. But I guess there are some like spaces, you know, they made this little pattern in the actual foam, which is pretty interesting. But anyways, there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is insane, you know what I mean? So as far as durability goes, durability definitely does worry me a little bit because this material is so dang thin. I don't see this lasting too long, you know what I mean? But it's this plastic material. It's kind of like a screen mesh almost, but we have that over like all this, you know what I mean? And then underneath that, we have a pretty open mesh as well underneath that. And you can pretty much see my finger. Look at this. You know what I mean? You can see, like, it's crazy how it's pretty much see-through. And another cool thing about this shoe or this upper is that whatever color sock you wear, you can pretty much see through this upper. So if you wear like a black sock, you can see a little bit better, or whatever, blue sock. It'll probably change the color of the upper a little bit, you know, which is pretty cool. It's really, really thin, like I said, and very, very minimal, especially here in the toe box. Around the toe box as well, we do have some fuse for extra durability and support, which of course that is needed. And then coming here into the midfoot, it stays extremely thin. You know what I mean? I mean, on the lateral side, we do have this plastic with this lightning bolt, and it kind of comes around all the way here into the heel. And then here on the medial side, we can see the underlaying material. They do have an underlaying material that they glued on here for extra durability and support as well. So yeah, look at that. It's pretty much see-through too. The tongue has very minimal padding. It's a half booty construction tongue as well, which gives you a better overall one-to-one fit. But also look at the bottom of the tongue. Also the top, but like here in the bottom and like the middle of the tongue right here, I've never seen a tongue like this. It's literally see-through, and there's there's so much airflow through this. So the ventilation is really good. I love how minimal this upper is. And then here in the ankle area, we also have pretty much zero padding, but you can see a little bit of cupping as well, which would be good, of course, for heel lockdown. And then here in the Achilles, like for this Achilles pad, we have this blue pad, you know what I mean? But it doesn't have that much padding. It's just more like a different material. And when you go up, it's kind of coarse. You know what I mean? It does feel a little rough when you go up, which I think will help a little bit for lockdown. It'll probably grab your sock a little bit, you know? But when you go down, it's pretty smooth, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, the overall upper, it's not cozy at all. But I don't think that's what they intended for this. It's a very well ventilated, very minimal and thin upper, which feels great. It conforms to my foot very well. And also support, we'll have to see on support, but overall it does feel pretty nice so far. There's a little bit of stretch to it, but it's not super stretchy, which of course is good. We'll have to see how supportive the actual upper is when I plane it, especially doing like lateral movements. But I do like the overall upper as far as like how it feels on foot, because it is minimal, but I am worried about durability, right? So there's that. Moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size, and this shoe fits me pretty dang well, but it definitely has a little bit of length, right? So I feel like lengthwise, I should have gone true to size, but it is pretty snug here in the toe box. And also widthwise, I would say it's around normal width to slightly narrow. But honestly, going up half a size, not a huge deal for me. You know, it does feel pretty dang nice for fit. It feels pretty snug as well. So going up half a size, not that bad. But again, if you do want a really snug fit, you should probably go true to size. But for the most part, like I said, if you want a little bit more relaxed but still kind of snug, then go up half a size, right? And now moving on to the support in lockdown, hopefully it'll be covered. You know what I mean? Like I said, this material is super duper thin, but for lateral containment, we can see the rubber coming up, acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot, right? That definitely does come up a little bit. We have a little bit of fuse here too to stiffen up the material, and then here in the midfoot, we have this plastic, you know, for this logo, this lightning bolt. So that feels pretty nice. And then here in the heel, there is an internal TPU heel counter, it feels like. We'll just have to see if my foot moves around inside of the shoe with this kind of like thinner and more minimal upper, right? And also lateral stability, it feels like it'll be very good. As you guys can see, we have a crazy outrigger. It protrudes out a lot. It's very sharp. You're low to the ground here in the forefoot too, so probably won't have any issues with lateral instability. And also there doesn't seem to be any heel slippage because it does cup in, which I do like. A lot of Adidas shoes don't really cup in that much, you know what I mean? They just go straight down, which especially in the past, a lot of Adidas shoes didn't have great heel lockdown. They are doing better now, but here in this shoe, it does cup in, so heel slippage is non-existent, feels like right now, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. This shoe, like when I first got it and I took it out of the box, I was like, this shoe feels super light. You know what I mean? I'm guessing this shoe is probably around like 10, 11 ounces. That's how light it feels. Wow, 10.35 ounces, guys. I think that's the lightest basketball shoe that I've weighed for the like past year. It's lighter than Curry's. It's lighter than Tatum 1's as well. I think the Tatum 1 was like 10.8 ounces. So the weight flash is extremely lightweight. 10.35 ounces is crazy. They did a really good job. You know, they probably focus on making a very lightweight shoe. And then the other shoe is 10.5 ounces, right? So yeah, that's an extremely lightweight shoe. And let's check it against the original Son of Flash, which is 13.1 ounces, right? So they shed off like more than 2.5 ounces. So that's pretty dang crazy. And yeah, this shoe feels extremely lightweight and super duper minimal. And that's one thing that I really like about Cloud Plus. You know, it seems like a low density foam, which doesn't add too much weight to the overall shoe. And then with the upper, there's no padding or anything. Feels extremely minimal. And hopefully the traction, if the traction is really good, this shoe will be very responsive. But also with being pretty comfortable, you know, with the like soft mesh strobe board, it does feel pretty nice for underfoot cushioning. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I really like it. You know, I don't know what it is, but I really like this lightning bolt. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a cooler look than the Nike swoosh, you know, just because it goes across the entire kind of like shoe on the lateral side, right? And I do like how it wraps around the heel too. And I do like this colorway. It is pretty much all white. And I don't know. I don't really think it looks better than the original Son of Flash, but it does look pretty dang good. It's just a very simple design, you know? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, Yeah, this shoe feels really nice, super minimal, and it feels overall really responsive. I do love the court feel that you get. The cushion also feels plush, you know, for underfoot cushioning as well. So they did a good job blending that. So yeah, it feels really nice so far. The only thing I'm worried about is durability, of course, because the material is so thin. But other than that, this shoe feels great, and also I really like the price for only $100, guys. Hopefully they release more colorways of the Wade Flash, because the Son of Flash, there was only 3 colorways. There was this one, the white one, and the black one, and that's it. But the Wade Flash, right now, there's only this colorway, and like I said, hopefully they do release a couple more. But anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Wade Flash. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave the affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.